The winner of the 3rd annual Hero of Heroes Grand Prix is me! This revealed the Nickel Samurai winning was obviously set up, meaning there's no way in heck Juan Corrida shouldn't have known about it, especially considering that the defamation scheme relied heavily on whether or not the Nickel Samurai won this year. Wait, the Gatewater Hotel? The same hotel April May was staying at? It was looking a lot more fancy than I remember it. Do you like the Nickel Samurai too, Mr. Nick? Nah, Nick's an old fart, so he's not allowed to watch it anymore. That's right, but I do like Kids Masterpiece Theater. Hey, I didn't know you were so young at heart, Nick. Mr. Nick, you're a grown-up. You're not allowed to watch it anymore. You're supposed to act your age to have interests that match. Oh, what great advice. I'm sorry, super adorable blue cartoon dog.
I will never understand these people and their shows.
You and me both. Hey Nick, come on. It's time to get going to the lobby. Except after all that dialogue, there's no move option for the lobby yet. Well, since the Pink Princess successfully wrapped up last month, I've been on a kids' exercise show while wearing a rabbit mask over my face. I guess even after all that time since I helped him out, he's still not ready for his face to be seen by the kids. But why not? He is by no means ugly. With a scarf around his neck and a guitar in hand, he rises to stardom in an ancient time. Anachronism for the purpose of children's entertainment. My favorite. Why does the game require me to move to the hallway, then back to Viola Hall before I can advance the story? Nothing significant happens in the hallway at this point in time. Honestly, youth these days can't be bothered to listen to other people when they talk. Just the other day was the same thing. There was a small footbridge with a sign next to it that said, "Beware, bridge out." And along comes a snot-nosed little punk kid right up to the bridge. I tried to tell the boy the bridge was out, it was dangerous, but when he listened, no, of course not. He said he'd be careful and only walk on the in part of the bridge since the out part was what was dangerous. I am not kidding you here. The kid said that and really meant it. Well, I really let him have it then. Knocked him clear off that bridge. Honestly, kids these days don't know right from wrong, I tell you. Oh, absolute glory. The old bag returns and more chatty and pretentious than ever. Also, if you couldn't hear from all that rambling, Old Bag admits to child murder. I love that show, and you're a hoot. You're the Big Brother character, right? Yes, even with your face covered by a mask, I know. You're that giant rabbit. What a work of art, but that's how it is, you know. I mean, if you didn't wear the mask, who knows how many TVs you'd break. Really, and shame on those kids exercising around you. They're getting what they deserve. This is why I thought you shouldn't be anywhere. Please don't start another Michael Jackson scandal. I beg you. Annoying noisy brats, get the blaster! And now she has a fake ray gun. Glorious. I thought about being a bodyguard at first, after being handed old Pinky. You, a bodyguard? For your friend! That fiery, good-looking guy with the red jacket and the ruffles! Still going after Edgeworth. So listen to this, Pearly. This one time at lawyer camp, Nick. Okay, I get it. Let's go take a look. This was enough to convince Phoenix to ignore police instructions. Whatever story Maya was going to tell was in all likelihood a bluff, or if it's a legitimate story that Phoenix once told Maya that was so embarrassing, why would Phoenix even tell her in the first place? Also, Old Bag is standing right there, and she does nothing to stop you from leaving the lobby. Some security guard she is. Excuse me. Ah! Are you by chance Miss Maya Fey? Evil Bellboy is evil because everything about his appearance suggests to me that he's evil. So, Detective Gumshoe, a murder? No, that's not it. I got my facts mixed up for a second there, pal. Nope, too late. You already expressed disdain for what you've just revealed. Is the dead person the Nickel Samurai? Huh? Why do you ask? Well, Mystic Maya was rooting for him, so... Even an 8-year-old child would have really said something more along the lines of, well, he won the award, so... Anyway, so now that Juan Corrida's gone, that means Mr. Engarde has the whole stage to himself, wouldn't you say? Didn't you just hear the detective? Engarde is the suspect. Matt Engarde was just arrested, pal, on suspicion of murdering Juan Corrida. What? I really don't understand the shock here. We already gathered this information. Those two would butt heads over everything they could think of, but I'd say that Matt was the one who almost always came out on top. I'd say Powers is just biased because both his and Matt's shows are made by the same studio, but that actually makes sense. Which show would you rather watch? A super cool action star in a neo-ancient setting, or some stupid ninja that plays a guitar?
I think you have other things to be concerning yourself with, such as... Help! Nick!
Mystic Maya! Maya? Maya just got freaking kidnapped? Holy crap, things just got real.
You have 2 days. Of course, tonight you will be in questioning with the police, but the trial is in 2 days. At that trial, you will win a not guilty verdict. Remember, you only have one chance. One chance, Mr. Attorney.
This is a point I never quite understood. Why is the killer that desperate for a verdict so quickly? I can understand if the trial ended in guilty, but I'm not even allowed to have the trial stretched over multiple days? As long as Engarde doesn't get convicted, it shouldn't matter. No! It's all my fault! If only I had gone with Mystic Maya! I'm pretty sure you would have been kidnapped too. I wouldn't put that past a killer. I'm a lawyer. My name is Phoenix Wright. A lawyer? Hold on a sec. I'm gonna ask my manager, okay? They didn't confiscate his wrist communicator! Please wait! I really need to take your case! There's always other people in need of a lawyer, right? Want me to introduce you to a few? Why is Engarde being so evasive? He needs his defense attorney, specifically Phoenix Wright. His cooperation is the bargaining chip so Maya can be let go. It's like Engarde doesn't care if he's found guilty or not, despite having been framed for committing the murder himself. Wait, what did you just say? The killer. The killer?
What's he doing? He looks like he's mulling something over.
Alright, dude. I accept your terms. That was all it took? Just mentioning the killer's name finally brings him to take Phoenix's defense? Why did he need all that effort? Just to make sure he's got the right guy? Phoenix is already recognized by his spiky hair, and he even introduced himself by name. Man, I thank my lucky stars that people know my name. Well, you're quite the hero, and you're in the national spotlight. I didn't know who he is. Does that mean I'm not a good citizen? What? If you use this,
Maya's Magatama!
he won't be able to hide any secrets from you, Mr. Nick. I know Engarde said he knew nothing about the press conference, but the information that was going to be revealed was about something he already knew, having been involved with it and everything. Why didn't we see any psyche logs when he said he knew nothing about a press conference? Did he really not know about the press conference? Like how the psyche logs didn't appear when he said he didn't kill Kurita? Well, at least I could breathe a sigh of relief knowing my client is innocent. Yeah. Wait, the investigation is split into two parts? Whoa. So we just went back to the office right after we visited Engarde? Why? Wouldn't it make more sense to start the next chapter right back at the hotel again? Why, oh why do all the stars I'm interested in drop one by one like flies? It's always been that way ever since I was a little girl in elementary school. The class hamster was fine until it was my turn to clean its cage, and then it died. The other kids started calling me Queen Reaper. I swear that's what they dubbed me. Whoever you name in your evil spell dies within 3 minutes, they would taunt. Maybe that's a sign to stop setting your sights on 20-somethings? That irritating backwater girl with the afro and the horrible country accent. I mean, what is that manner of speaking supposed to be? And why does she never stop? Honestly, women these days, they don't know the meaning of the word modesty. When I was a young maiden, I was so beautiful, even the flowers in the fields blushed. But despite this, I pressed flowers, or read the stars, or wrote beautiful love poems, or... That's Regentist. If you want to hear more, then show your respect and bring this lady a present. Sure, I'll do that, but before I give it to you, I have to show you my ultra-powerful jewel that allows me to crack your secrets open. It's my lifeblood. I'm gonna die without my $700 camera. Your camera? Look, don't lots of people say the criminal always goes back to the scene of the crime? And looky, here you are. By Lotta's logic, literally anyone could have come into this hall and she would have accused him of the theft just like she is with Phoenix. But other than that stupid cliche, why would Lotta think Phoenix stole her camera? It ain't no ordinary camera. You buy in a store and it's $1,600 brand new. Huh? But didn't you just say you bought it for $700? I had a nice long talk with the guy at the store. About 5 hours, I reckon. I made this itty-bitty scratch on it and the manager got all huffed up in the face. He gave me his talking to, was real mean about it too. He done made me cry at that. Okay, but that doesn't answer how you got the camera cheaper than its listed price. It's not like it was up for auction or anything. What kind of story was it that you would hang around here? Oops, sorry, Mr. Lawyer. Can't be telling you that. Trade secret, you know.
Not again. Why does everyone have something to hide?
Believe me, Phoenix, this isn't the worst of it. Oh, that's right. I got you guys a map of the hotel, pal. Here you go, little missy. Wow, you're giving it to me? Thank you. Wouldn't want you to get lost in a hotel too big for its own good. That's really the only use it has, whether in-universe or not. As far as the game goes, it's just taking up space in the court record. Not to mention, there's something around where the Vic was that's a little off. Something that's a little off? As in, that's for you to figure out, pal. Oh, silly me. I thought the detective was really gonna be helpful at all times. There are a lot of electronic things in here that I've never seen before. Hey, Mr. Nick, tell me what they are, pretty please. Okay, that over there is a watch. You wear it on your wrist. I know what a watch is.
Oops, for a second there, I forgot I was talking with Pearls, not Maya.
No, it's absolutely not your fault. She said there was a bunch of electronics she's never seen before and wanted you to tell them what they were. She never said anything about which ones she knew, and it'd be only fair to assume she wouldn't know about a watch. Poor sheltered Pearl. It's a beautiful wine glass, and there's tomato juice in it. We can talk about it being in a wine glass, but we can't have any actual alcohol in it, despite both the victim and the defendant being just old enough to drink. Our 13-year-old audience must be sheltered away from the acknowledgement of alcohol existing, but at the same time, let's also shove as many bloody murder scenes in their faces as possible, and a bunch of tragic and gruesome backstory as well. Oh, and also the sexual humor. I think 13-year-olds would have handled wine being in a wine glass. Poor teddies. It's hard to bear with all these problems. Growl! Oh, screw me sideways. For some reason, whenever I hear that sound, she pops out of nowhere and whips me.
Come to think of it, that's exactly what happened the last time.
What's funny is that even though the miracle never happened from the bad ending of this case was corrected to the HD re-release, they don't fix the error that takes place here. Detective, come over here for a second. Careful, Francie, or you won't have a live detective to whip anymore. So before leaving the crime scene with Gumshoe in tow, Franziska threw this note at me, and instead of the note instantly being added to the court record, I have to examine the note that just materialized on the table. Just extra work is all it is.
Look here, see how it says, "To my dearest Wendy" in more normal letters here?
This is Juan Carita's autograph that he allegedly signed for Old Bag, and I gotta say, what the crap is wrong with you?
Alright, I'll give you what you want.
The fact that it had to be a psyche lock breaking moment.
I can't let you have it just like that.
Can someone please tell me what "un" is? Because I cannot, for the life of me, make heads or tails of "un", not the prefix!
Wow, she must really want this autograph.
My offer isn't good enough for you? Fine, Mr. Wright, you win! Wendy Old Bag ready to open up her heart. All for my dearest Juan! All 4 psyche locks just break instantly when you show her the autograph. Again, why is this a psyche lock section? This time you're gonna get it. I'm gonna work hard to get your client pronounced guilty. The end justifies the means, right? That guy, he shoved the girl onto Juan on purpose.
His own manager?
But why? I thought lawyers were smart. It was to create a scandal to make Juan lose face. Besides which, didn't we already establish that Juan and Matt had a huge rivalry with each other?
You were just saying that he is your client. In a situation like this, the only person who would use such a word would be his lawyer.
Or perhaps maybe an assassin he hired?
I have no idea how he could chose you as his lawyer.
I think you're missing an O in choose.
The Nickel Samurai is an action hero program aimed towards kids. It's the sequel to the Steel Samurai.
And where does the Pink Princess fit into the timeline?
He's so happy he looks like a lion that's just found his next meal.
When does he ever not look like a lion?
And I even told her not to open that mouth of hers and play it to anyone.
Her blab knob is stuck on 10 and there's no turning it down, trust me.
10 sounds like an underestimate. I think it's more like 11.
You have 30 minutes to get out of here. You are no longer needed. Auf Wiedersehen.
I don't think Franziska has the authority to fire Gumshoe. Ah, who am I kidding? She has the authority to cut his salary.
That voice. Edgeworth.
He's back!
Well, there's one riddle we have yet to solve.
Yet to solved? Did anyone proofread these important lines? I only get half of the suicide report from Edgeworth when I first talked to him about Celeste Impact's suicide, but in order to get the second half, I have to present this first half to him. Like, really? The game's gonna do that to me?
You've got some nerve following me around.
And she says this only after we've accidentally stumbled across her 3 times in the same episode. Or to be more accurate, the first 2 times was her stepping in, and this time, Phoenix is the one stepping in.
Miss Andrews has been playing with that card in her hand since a little while back.
And we're only discussing this now after breaking her psyche locks?
As I promised, I have not gone within a few feet of her this whole time.
Phew.
Which is why, I suppose, she is absolutely famished.
Oh, come on, Dick Killer, you're not even gonna give her scraps? Have some decency as an honorable assassin.
Sis, what does she mean by that? Come on, Phoenix. You're a hopeless one.
Seriously, the way Phoenix couldn't figure out obvious crap makes him feel like the George McFly to me as Biff Tannen.
Apparently, Maya went to answer a phone call at the hotel and was drugged there.
And
she didn't see the face of her attacker.
But what about now? Surely even with the dim light, she had to have recognized the stitches on his face while he was in front of her. Holy crap, I get to play as Maya for this part? Whoa, this is a game changer.
But I can't focus on Maya's situation right now. Or Pearl's either.
Even Phoenix could tell that would be kinda hard if she's standing right in front of you while channeling Mia right now.
You'll figure it out once the trial starts. And even if you don't like my gift, I expect you to graciously accept it and win the day's contest, if you please.
Then once I find out what the present was, all I can think is, you know, it sucks that Francie was shot, but I'm also kind of happy about it because it means less whiplashes for me.
I say, Mr. Wright, what happened to Miss Von Karma?
I don't know, Your Honor.
Why are you getting mad at me?
That's a legit question. Why is the judge getting mad at Phoenix? Why was that question directed to him? Why not the bailiff?
After this trial's over, I'm supposed to turn in my badge, sir.
But then the next game, you'll have it back again. What's the point of sacking him if you're not going to keep that constant?
Get ready, Phoenix. This is going to be one very tough fight.
Yeah, it would have to be with Edward as my opponent. Oh, but Manfred and Franziska von Karma were no problem, right?
The cause of death. Wasn't that because Mr. Kurita was stabbed in the chest?
Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. Take a good hard look at the crime photo. Now a real pro's attention would be drawn here to this bandana.
No, anybody, regardless of experience or care, would immediately think of the knife once they saw the scene. Sure, the bandana was wrapped tight around his neck, but no one would give the bandana a second thought until the autopsy report was complete. The details of the autopsy report make it seem like the victim was first subdued after being choked by the scarf, and then the knife finished him off, but that's not the case. The knife was only inserted post-mortem.
The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder.
Where did he get that idea from? He even had the knife with him to present his evidence. That knife even has the Gatewater seal on it. He couldn't have missed that, no matter how scatterbrained he was. Why would he say the defendant bought the knife specifically to use for the murder when that was so obviously wrong?
You can press as hard as you'd like. Just hurry up with your usual pointless questions.
I don't have to press in order to see the obvious contradiction here.
You may now present one and only one piece of evidence.
And this time he means it! Holy crap!
Mr. Edgeworth, what is it, Your Honor? Your opinion?
You don't need my opinion, because there's no special meaning to that glass.
What?
It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. By the person who discovered the body, Adrian Andrews, for example. Just leave with that. Don't say there's no special meaning to it. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Is he reacting like the ray gun was actually real?
Oh, Edgy boy! It's been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me!
Oh, we have to see this again. I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet, it was the Wicked Witch of the witness stand! Edgeworth is so flustered at the witness being the security lady that as a thing for him, he makes a Wizard of Oz reference on the spot.
Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all this court needs to know.
Oof! Not you too, Your Honor! I wasn't born so I could count things for those who didn't pay attention in class. That's why ever since I turned 20, I quit keeping track of how old I really am.
Yes, well, that would explain why your age was not included in the report.
Okay, so she has no idea how old she is? Let me help you remember. When was your birthday, and what year were you born? You gotta at least know those two details.
That's when someone showed up! It was a man coming out of poor Juan!
Who in the world was that?
I'm not allowed to say!
But you're gonna tell us anyway in the very next statement, so what's with this dialogue?
Annoying brat, when I say I saw someone, I saw that person!
Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further.
This is why it's recommended to play the games in order. He was wearing his flashy racing jacket. Honestly, it's all just for show. We're talking about what Engarde was wearing when he left Kurita's room, and clearly that is not what Old Bag saw, so why did she even say this first? She couldn't have just forgotten it. I find it very hard to believe she wouldn't have immediately said the person she saw was wearing a nickel samurai costume. She has no reason not to, especially if she prefers Juan over Matt.
Ah! It's button number 2 on the Jammin' Ninja's costume!
Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in a single glance.
I'm even more impressed she narrowed it down to the number.
If I wore the trendiest dress, then maybe you'd think I was the most gorgeous woman ever. But instead, I have to put up with wearing this ridiculous-looking outfit. You'd agree this outfit is hideous, right? I got a tape recorder stuck on my chest. Let me tell you, it's heavy. So heavy, I wish we would have switched to CDs ages ago. But I'm keeping that dream alive for all those kids out there. I worked hard with a smile on my face, don't you understand? Now take a look in the mirror. Your clothes are about as interesting as a documentary on curling. You should take a tipper test from Edupoo. Now he's got style.
I thought Richard Wellington was supposed to remind me of Wendy Oldbag, not the other way around. Is that what you're driving at? That is exactly what I'm driving at.
What are we driving at? And whose car are we driving?
The judge has some funny comments, but just how scatterbrained can this man be? I don't remember the first game going that far with it. The defendant went to the victim's room while in costume as the Nickel Samurai. At that time, the defendant held no intent to murder. He was probably just going to relax and talk with the victim about the stage show. Which is why he took his gloves off. What? He took his gloves off just to talk with Juan?
But it's not really like Edgeworth to neglect the fact that Engarde brought the knife with him! It seems that this is the latest rumor in circulation, Your Honor. Oh, this is... well, this is... I see. The judge seems to be really into the article, if it can be called such a thing. I'm not so sure it's that particular article, or any article really, more like specific photographs that may have snuck their way in. I don't believe that the note is the only thing you stole that night. And I had to present the camera a second time in a row. I don't like when Ace Attorney pulls something like that. What about this photo is strange? It already sucks that I can't check the court record to cross-reference the Nickel Samurai poster at this part, which is kinda necessary to spot the contradiction. It sucks even harder that this is an infinite penalty. Let's take a look at the Nickel Samurai's poster. How funny, in order to point out a contradiction with the photo taken by Lotta's camera, I had to point out a particular spot in that photo and not present the actual poster that the photo contradicts. 4 hours and 14 minutes. Dude, no way. The recess was supposed to be 10 minutes, but it's actually 11. That's cheating. But this was a private matter between Juan and myself. So it was a fried bait matter. Or was that bait and fry? Reminds me of fishing. Yo, Adrian, think you can figure out what the judge is trying to say here? I can't find nothing on the internet. She's the type of woman who is easily thrown off by things inconsistent with her thinking, so you have to attack when she least expects it. In other words, just cross-examine her like pretty much any other witness. Got it. So Adrian's damaged sprite is her glasses shattering, then she immediately has a spare pair ready. I wonder how much those extra glasses cost, especially if she's lost so many. What was in the guitar case was not the bright red guitar.
You don't mean it was a bright white guitar? Wait, that's not right either.
That's racist. Wait. Your Honor, this is obviously the defense's usual misdirection tactic at work. Steer the court towards an unrelated topic and lull us all into his misguided. And with this tactic, I have proved a good number of people innocent the legit way, so I will continue to use this tactic, thank you very much. Let's suppose for a second that the bright red guitar was not the only thing that could have been in the case. The bright red guitar not being the only thing? You don't mean to suggest that a bright black guitar was inside the... Thank you, Edgeworth. We don't need any more racism than Phoenix Unstoppable from earlier. Wait, what? Well, you know my strategy. Speak first, think later. Murderers in the Ace Attorney universe. I can't stand this side of a man who can't gracefully accept his defeat.
Thank goodness Mia can still look at me.
With an icy stare, yes. Ouch, I thought you were on my side. And the real murder is... Well, obviously the real murder was of Juan Corrida, but who's the murderer? Miss Adrian Andrews, I choose you! You are Mr. Corrida's killer! Wait, are you accusing someone of murder or summoning a Pokemon to battle? Are you a lawyer or a Pokemon trainer? However, if Mr. Engarde was the real killer, there is no way he would have put such incriminating evidence in his own Hakama! The police force really ought to do a better job of figuring stuff like this out, especially the detectives, seriously. Usually, when one finds a body, they are shaken up, not stirring a glass of juice. This James Bond reference is about as subtle as it gets. No! No. Yesterday, she was tossed a lifesaver by Miss Von Karma. Don't say a word no matter what happens. If you do, Matt Engarde will be acquitted. Miss Andrews undyingly believes in those words right now and is clinging on to them. Why? She's clearly seeing for herself that she's about to be declared guilty in Engarde's place. She's got to realize by now that she's been bitten by the dog the hand feeds, right? If people find out, I'll... If you're going to say you would choose death, that is of no concern to me. Holy crap, Edgeworth, that's a jerk move, even if it's just to get the information we so desperately need. Why did crime need to be in quotations? She did commit a crime, tampering with an active crime scene. That is all. Court is adjourned for today. And it is at this moment you have a moment of hopelessness, especially with this new sprite of Phoenix thinking you lost, until it is interrupted by Edgeworth questioning Adrian about the card she's been fiddling with the whole time.
3 hours after the recess and we're back at the office. The condition was that we had to get a not guilty verdict, and so far the kidnapper has kept his word and hasn't hurt Maya, and he won't because Mr. Engarde hasn't been given a guilty sentence yet. Hate to interrupt this session of giving the kid false hope, but who was the one who laid his head over his bench distraught at the end of the proceedings? And why did he do it? Because the condition was that Engarde was supposed to have been acquitted today!
Hey, you guys! Glad I caught you, pal.
Why is Gumshoe's name just question marks for this particular line?
So yeah, I'm going to help you, pal. I've got lots of experience in investigating and watching over people's places. And I'm great at making really simple meals, pal. I'll take care of it all.
I just realized another missed opportunity by bringing Gumshoe back on the police force is a game where Gumshoe actually works as a private investigator for the cases involving Phoenix's clients. Then again, he has a better dynamic with Edgeworth. Okay. By the way, what's your best dish?
Instant noodles, pal.
Why am I surrounded by people who only eat cheap, unhealthy foods?
America.
That's such a dirty trick. Even that woman prosecutor was better than that.
No, she wasn't. And besides, aren't we the ones fighting for a false acquittal?
She looked like she was being tortured to death, not being able to go to the trial today. So maybe it'd be good for her if you went and let her whip you for a bit, pal.
Let's go let her whip us, Mr. Nick. Those are the last words I expect to ever hear from an 8-year-old girl. Okay, here I am at the Hottie Clinic to visit Franziska. Please tell me that phony pervert pretending to be the director is out.
Dang it! Why are you still here?
My question exactly.
And when I snuck up on her real secret-like, she would scream really loud. Yes.
How are you not in jail?
And what are those tulips doing in your hands at Phoenix Wright?
You mean Phoenix actually went through the trouble to buy flowers for Franziska?
I was shot in front of the courthouse in my right shoulder.
But it's no big deal. This sort of thing happens all the time. Like father, like daughter, I guess. The end justifies the means at Phoenix Wright. The end justifies the means. That phrase sure won't sound familiar in the future. Anyway, let's try out the card trick with this card I just found. Except last time we left her, she already unlocked the door. I have this cat named Shu. I didn't put out a lot of food when I left the house, so he's probably pretty hungry. You think you could drop by my house and feed Shu for me, dude? Does Engarde not know that the killer is taking care of the cat while he's in detention? They still keep in contact with each other, right? Why does Engarde even send Phoenix over to his mansion anyway? Just so the killer can learn that the trial didn't end in a single day? Why is this being added to the court record if we're not even going to present it or anything before it gets discarded?
Because of you, I've been made to look like the bad guy again. Although I did get a piece of gum from Edgy Boy, just as he promised. But what I really wanted was something much more valuable. I wanted Edgy Poo's heart. I wanted all for me. It's all your fault. I have awakened the wild beast inside of this old bag.
Wow, she was such a windy old bag that she just faded. That's a first.
Would you please allow this unsophisticated young person to conduct his investigation? Yours truly, Miles Edgeworth. Yours truly?
It's enough to call me unsophisticated, but then you had to encourage this old bag's heart even further? Gosh, Edgeworth.
It looks like she has strong feelings for Mr. Edgeworth.
That may be, but you know nothing's going to come of it.
That's so mean, Mr. Nick. Feelings are meant to be told and shared.
Yes, and hearts are meant to be broken, too. I am the family butler, John Doe. John Doe, not only do you have the same stitches as the bellboy that took Maya for a phone call, your name doesn't sound real.
Mr. Nick? What is that otherworldly, ghastly moaning?
Probably just someone with a Playboy magazine.
It's one of the presents going off. Sounds like it's already 8 p.m., way past your bedtime.
Except it still looks like it's broad daylight outside. 8 p.m. That's the time when the award ceremony ended that night, remember? I thought it was 7:42 p.m. when the ceremony was over. Does Oldbag not hear the transceiver, or did she already leave the room?
One more day, please! All I ask is for one more day! I'll get a not guilty verdict for sure this time! Please!
I suppose if I must, I need that acquittal more than anything else, after all.
How strange that the killer wasn't this lenient when he first contacted Phoenix about the bargain.
Like, for example, when a cell phone goes off next to a computer screen, the stuff on the screen gets kind of fuzzy and starts acting funny, right?
You know your game's old when that kind of fun fact isn't really true with modern cell phones and computers. Believe me, when I work on my Mac OS and my Samsung phone rings, nothing happens to my computer or cell phone screen.
We should be going too, Mr. Nick.
Alright, let's go. And Phoenix is just okay with this, even though it's past 8 o'clock. At this hour, Pearl should be in bed.
What do you mean you couldn't get one? We need that item! Hey, calm down, pal. I didn't say I didn't get one, just not the police's.
I bet Gumshoe had that on him the whole time and for some reason didn't think to just use that and save the trouble.
Let's take this big fella's eye out and see what we've got.
No, you can't! Such a violent act!
No!
No. Until court reconvenes tomorrow, you should concern yourself with this question. Who was the person that murdered Juan Corrida? But we already know the answer to that. It was the killer who committed the crime. The real question is, who hired him to do it? The fact that I have to talk to Pearl is part of advancing the story. Seriously, all I'm doing is questioning who hired the killer for the hit, not believing that client to be Engarde, and also something about a secret Corrida had that could ruin Engarde's career.
And he said...
If you feel angry, direct your anger at that unsophisticated lawyer. Edgeworth, why can't you just act like not a jerk to me for a change? Why did you try to frame Mr. Engarde? That's simple. Because he's the killer, that's why. Isn't it the duty of every good citizen to inform the police? She could have just done that without the need to try to frame him. It's not like she knew the details of the shell card left at the scene. Ah, well, the detective told me not to talk about it. You can't tell anyone, and especially not that lawyer, he said. Who do you think is that lawyer the detective was talking about? I don't know any other lawyer that fits the bill except for, well, me. Dude, I suddenly just got totally hungry. You up for a pizza? My treat. See, this is another reason to confiscate this guy's fancy gadgets. He's really ordering a pizza from a jail cell. It's terrible! I don't know what to say, pal. It's the end I say. I'm going to... Oh, I got you faster than I thought. Only Detective Dumbshoe would make this kind of mistake, am I right? You're working really late, you know? It's already past 10 p.m., dude. And your biggest concern is how hard Phoenix is working? What about the fact that he's got an 8-year-old kid by his side at this hour? This $3,800? This could be the toothbrush I bought that one time. A $3,800 toothbrush! It's ivory, and it's got elephant hair for bristles.
Ew, elephant hair? Is that what rich people use nowadays?
I wouldn't know. Does anyone use elephant hair for bristles? Please post a comment below if you could confirm or deny this. How do you do, Mr. Lawyer? I'm Matt Engarde. Yeah, you had to have seen this reveal coming if an assassin kidnapped your assistant just for an acquittal, but holy crap! The lengths that they go to make this look like such a big reveal is amazing. You knew he was evil and you're still shocked. Points to Capcom for making a moment that should have been terrible an absolute win. But let me be a jerkwad and tack one back because he is giving this confession in a confined room watched over by a guard. It's way past your bedtime, little girl. Go on and let us grown-ups talk about more adult things. You know things are bad when the villain has a better moral conscience for children than the hero does. And now you finally found it. The starting line of this case. I know Edgeworth arranged for the detention center visits, but has he just been eavesdropping on me while I've been talking to Engarde? Proper defense. But what exactly is that? Is it where a lawyer forcibly and blindly gets an acquittal through shouting and trickery? Ironic that you of all people should say such a thing. Isn't that exactly how you have fought for your clients up until now? Except all of my clients were in fact innocent of the charges against them. The closest is Lana Skye, who was just an accomplice to a cover-up, but nothing more. Franziska, she fights for herself. The only thing she fights for is her perfect win record. That's all.
And? Isn't that the same as you? Isn't that why you ran away a year ago? Because your precious win record was destroyed? You're so petty! And you're not?
I take great care to ensure that no suspicion falls upon my clients for my handiwork. That is what is called client relations, and it is a part of an assassin's duty.
An assassin's duty?
We were unlucky this time, and my client was arrested as a suspect. As a result, I did what I had to do to enlist your expert help, Mr. Attorney, and to ensure that you would do everything in your power to the very end.
Okay, are you gonna spell ensure with an I or an E? Are you talking about car insurance or making sure everything's going well?
If someone were to trace the signal back to me, it would be quite troublesome.
Now I bet Engarde feels really stupid for sending me to his mansion to feed his cat earlier. A bear? Isn't that more of a thing for Mr. Kurita? Why would something like this be here? I'm also wondering why, but for a different reason. It was in the private lounge before, and To Killer had no reason to take it out, really. An antenna for sending and receiving radio signals, and a VCR. It's the year 2018, and someone's still using VHS tapes? The only move option from the private lounge is the wine cellar where Maya was previously held, even though we came into the lounge from the living room. This looks like a picture of Miss Impacts. Why was a framed photo of Celeste taken to the wine cellar, but the bear to the living room? Pearly, you're there too, right? There's no way Maya should have known that Pearl would be with Phoenix when they went to search Engarde Mansion, especially not this time of night. Miss Andrews, I have come to remove your psyche lock. Why would he say this out loud to her? I've had this dream before, someplace, some time ago, and it's only now when that dream went from pointless and stupid to actually friggin' ingenious. Hello, this is Phoenix Wright.
You don't look so well, dude. You're gonna prove me not guilty today, right?
Dude, what's wrong with just saving electrical energy? And he does this again. I guess because he was in the clear making his confession in the detention center despite his room having a guard inside, he feels very confident dropping the facade in the defendant lobby being watched by 2 guards.
It's that accursed Engarde again! Will you leave me alone? Look, don't call me anymore! I mean it!
You're really mean, pal. Then let me join the investigation team. We're chasing after the killer, pal.
Even though you've been fired?
What a surprising turn of events!
I would think it's become commonplace by now, Your Honor. Too true. In most of these cases, the surprising turn of events may not have been so much in who done it, but rather how they did it and how their guilt is proven. As much as people crap on certain episodes for the culprit being obvious, this game reminds us that it's more about proving the culprit's guilt through this very line. I think of it as the very basis of the series, mostly because it was already established at the very beginning, and it's unfortunate to see it taken for granted by a group of people. But good thing this line exists to remind us.
After the award ceremony, I went by myself to Matt's room.
After the award ceremony? What time was that? Because Powers was still with Phoenix and the Fays around the time the ceremony was over.
And talking with the bellboy is no big deal.
If one assumes that the person Mr. Engarde was speaking with was an ordinary bellboy. In case you fellas missed it, Phoenix's line was a thought bubble. This one's kinda interesting. In order to move ahead with Powers' first testimony, you have to press the statement about him watching Engarde and the bellboy together for a while before getting out of the hallway. Then after that, you gotta press the statement about him talking with who he thought was a bellboy at first. The strange thing is that it's the statement directly before the one you just pressed. It's not because the order of the testimony I find it strange, nothing wrong with the order. For some reason, I just don't like it when the game requires you to press certain statements in an order not like in the testimony in order to advance. Something about that just feels unnatural. It's especially weird in this case because in the first statement you have to press, Powers mentions Engarde giving the bellboy a tip, but this new statement isn't added to the testimony just yet. You have to first press the statement that came right before, then you get the new statement. Why is this not something you would pursue further right away? Giving the bellboy a tip sounds completely normal, as Phoenix specifies in his thought bubbles, so it doesn't make sense that he just wouldn't ask about the tip immediately. There is nothing strange or unusual about an empty-handed bellboy.
But there really is!
There really isn't! If you two are done being school children. Thank you, Edgeworth. Phoenix was making quite the stretch just to say there's nothing strange about a bellboy being empty-handed. I know Phoenix is aware of what he's up against and is just trying to keep the trial going, but still.
But isn't he really suspicious? He's got all those stitches and...
So, a baseball is stitches? Are you saying all baseballs are suspicious because they have stitches? Phoenix needs to take it easy with the bluffs or else someone might recommend him to a mental institution. So what if he had gloves? A lot of bellboys wear gloves.
Come on, Mr. Wright, that bellboy is wearing black leather ones.
So, a football is made of leather. Are you saying all footballs are suspicious because they are made of leather? Jim Carrey called, he wants his crazy back. Some accident, I'd say you saw too much. And all of it was suspicious to high heaven. Makes you wonder why he wasn't called to the stand yesterday, unless he for some reason couldn't give a statement before then. I said, hold it!
Okay.
Well, this is a first. He had to say hold it twice. Why? I can't even begin to count the flaws in the defense's logic. Well, at least name a few. I know I'm lying about Andrews possibly being the client, but don't keep the court in suspense. No way we could have been in there for an hour 54 minutes. And the recess was meant to be 10 minutes, yet went for 11. That's cheating. But this looks like it could be easily broken, especially if someone wanted to get at what's inside. Well, it's a toy, but it can never be the same again once it's been broken. Imagine if Adrienne really was able to get her hands on that bear the night of the murder. I don't think she would have cared about that. She was looking for the suicide note so she could burn it as soon as possible. So I have doubt she would have gone through that kind of effort. The judge's voice rang loud and clear through the deathly silent courtroom. Though the deathly silent... Come on, this is an HD re-release! Do a better job with the spell check, guys!
And that's all Miss Impax had to say.
And we don't even get to know what her exact words were. We can't even check it in the court record. Great.
Mommy, is that man the bad killer guy?
No, silly. That's just a stupid lawyer defending the bad killer guy. I have an objection, Your Honor.
That was about the weakest objection I've ever heard, Mr. Wright.
All it took was an insult from Edgeworth to use your soundbite? When Edgeworth made his weak objection and rise from the ashes, you think he gave in to pressure when you pointed out how weak his objection was? Of course not! You could learn something from him. Edgeworth, catch! That has to be the most epic phone throw I've never seen in my life. That did not take 2 hours!
The 30-minute recess turned into 31. That's cheating. If this was not written by Miss Impax, then who wrote it? We would need more time to do a more detailed analysis. However, it appears that the handwriting matches that of the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida. You mean you know who wrote it? Why the more detailed analysis then? Just to double check? Mr. Engarde could not have known that, and so that facts remained unchanged. Facts? As in more than one? In that case, you wouldn't say that facts, you'd say those or the. Well, in this instance, you'd say the. Also, whether or not he knew the note was a fake shouldn't matter. His popularity was probably going to nosedive with the revelation of the note's contents anyway. A witness communicating to the court via radio, and I thought cross-examining a parrot was pushing things a little bit. Witness, please present some sort of proof that you are, in fact, Shelley the killer.
I understand. Please wait a second. I'm so hungry.
Maya! A voice. Mr. Wright, can you confirm anything from this? The defense has no objections to this person. I'm sure the judge has some objections of his own to make to Phoenix's situation, but we'll let the trial run its course. Nothing urgent. I mentioned before how I don't like it when you have to press a certain statement, then backtrack to a previous statement and press that, but this one's even more messed up. You have to press the statement about trust between client and assassin, then the very next statement about why he's here at the stand, then go back and press that other statement a second time. So not only do I gotta press the same statement twice, but in between presses, you have to press a whole other statement as well. What's the point? Just have me press those two statements once each and have it not matter which order I do it. The dialogue doesn't seem to suggest the method needing to be so complicated.
I believe I am ready to disclose the information you seek.
You have made it crystal clear that you value trust over all else. I believe we are ready.
Excellent.
And then it goes back to the testimony. Why not just advance from that point? Wow, all of a sudden it feels like we can actually win this. Except, we're not supposed to.
You legal people and your procedures. Is it any wonder no one likes to go to court?
You see, it's funny because it's true. I don't understand what's going on anymore.
That makes two of us.
No, it makes three of us. But isn't that just a part of Adrian Andrews' calculated plan? That is not possible, Your Honor. This glass bears the fingerprints of that person. Had this been planned, they would never have left their fingerprints behind. Why not? Fingerprints on the glass of someone who would discover the body sounds perfectly believable to me. Well, Mr. Wright, was the testimony just now of any importance? Normally, when asked this question, you'd say the statement was important and the new statement would be added to the testimony, but not this time. The killer just got done explaining why he meets his clients physically, but we're really asking about that specific alleged meeting between the killer and Adrian, so we're gonna have to say it's not important at this part. Looks like the designers decided to get a little tricky. So the radio explodes when the killer takes damage, then it just fixes itself for its next line. And now the device is sweating, I want to say, oil? Unluckily for Mr. the Killer, the entire time he was on the stand, no one had stated Adrian Andrews' gender, and so he simply picked the wrong gender to go with. That's true, no one ever specified Adrian's gender, but what are the odds of that happening? And now it's hopping on top of the stand. This is not an ordinary radio. I see where you're going. Yup, that's where I'm going. Where is everyone going? Do I need to pack a suitcase? The judge never ceases to amaze. Why is he dropping the facade in the middle of the courtroom?
Anyway, get on with it and pronounce me innocent already.
If I were a judge, I would not do that, especially after hearing the killer's lies getting exposed and just to save that face Engarde is making. Matt Engarde is...
Objection!
Franzi Ex Machina.
The first item is a pistol.
Does the killer's pistol have anything to do with this case? Does anyone else think it's a little ridiculous that the game asks you if you want more details on each of the three items or not? Why would I say no? These are the defense's final pieces of evidence, are they not? There is only one reason why your client would secretly film the crime scene. You didn't even need to remember what Engarde told you in order to answer this. Only one of these options makes absolute sense. Maya, I thought I'd never see you again. Ah, thank goodness! Every other time we've seen this sprite, it's always in despair. For the first time, it's relief, and I couldn't be more satisfied. It looks like somehow you got what you wanted. You will finally receive the acquittal you wanted so badly. You should be happy. Except we're not going to acquit him, not after what he's done. Seriously, I have the choice to plead guilty or not guilty. Well, I gotta say, this is the first time I'd be satisfied to have my own client found guilty. It means justice prevails, and I no longer feel the chains of a ransom spurred on by an assassin's honor. Phew, what a game. Early on in the series, it gives this kind of twist and makes you feel satisfied to see the twist through and actually not save your client for once. Even if you plead not guilty, he will ask to be convicted, which can be just as satisfying, but I just love the feeling of telling an abhorrent man that I'm not defending him anymore. I was so close to complete satisfaction, but they still overestimated the time passing since the final recess ended. 2 hours and 39 minutes!
Phoenix, think back for a second.
Why is Mia's mouth not moving?
Miles says, Fez, you are no longer Fezzy. You are no longer Fezzy of being a Von Karma.
You're right, he's not. He's something even better, an Edgeworth. Whatever. Look, it's over, okay? Besides, if I did croak, I would just come back and haunt you like a bad ghost through Pearly.
Is it really that easy to do something like that?
Yes, you've seen what the Faye cousins are capable of. Is it really 2 hours between the courthouse and the hotel?
So, who's paying for this lovely dinner party?
As if you need to ask. Everyone say thank you to Nick. What a pal, Maya. You think money grows from our plant, Charlie?
Speaking of which, I think this hotel is a popular place for honeymooners, so I sort of made reservations for the two of you, just in case.
Aw, Pearl, it's great to have an active imagination, but you gotta control it.
I'm going to be a waitress from now on. And bring smiles and joy to the people who come by the restaurant, sir. I hope you'll stop by sometime, Mr. Wright.
Oh boy. How are you not discharged yet?
I'm going to be more contemporary with my humor. Ball curls represent.
Fine, just at least be tolerable.
This filthy top coat of his, I don't know how it ended up in my luggage.
To be frank, I don't know either.
If I could win against that man, if I could make Phoenix High bow down in defeat, then this girl you left behind would have risen higher than you. That was supposed to be my revenge.
Revenge just after Edgeworth left the prosecutor's office?
Until then, this last piece of evidence that never made it to you, I'll take good care of this fourth piece, so I could give it to you when at last we meet again.
Except she doesn't. We know what that last piece is, but it's never acknowledged again for the rest of the series.
So you have chosen death.